What's good? What's really good? I'm Rustin Watt, and this is the Sats for Life podcast. We are a Bitcoin and Liberty-focused podcast delivering education and news. Subscribe to us on Patreon, where premium members get the Sats for Life mug, and founders will receive an autographed copy of Why Commies Hate Bitcoin, a book on how the philosophies are incompatible and how Bitcoin restores a commie's worst enemy, property rights. Kickstarter will be down below in the notes. Go ahead, give us a like, a subscribe, hit that bell button. Now, just to get on it, we at Sats for Life are not financial advisors. We don't advise any financial decisions. We implore trust but verify. Like Trump over there. Trust but verify everything you see here and in your various media. Do your own research and make financial decisions for you and yours based on what is right for you and your situation. Sats for Life is here to do our part in bridging the education gap in economics and Bitcoin and have some fun along the way. Now, last time we went over monetary history, the golden era of the gold standard, and the practices followed throughout history, from the coin clippers to now at the Fed. The same prescription to remedies central figures and states cause through intervention to begin with. Intervention begets further intervention. Read some Mises, read some Hayek, a little Ron Paul, it'll do you good. Now let's review the traits of money and break down why Bitcoin is not here to play games and is not only a superior store of value to gold, but is the hardest money ever created. Alright, taking a look at our chart here. Let's begin with verifiable. Okay, verify, trust but verify, right? In the world today, the state can verify every single transaction you make. The IRS can come in and kick down your door for any little miscue, any misstep. You go out of line a little bit on paying your taxes, might get your ass kicked, you know? So the problem is, when you flip it around, we can't audit the Fed. I can't audit Pelosi. I can't audit Trump. I can't audit this shady business down the street. I can't audit the IMF. I can't audit the WEF. No one can audit their state. So you have rules that apply to us, but not to the rulers. So see what you have? You have rulers, not rules. The difference with the Bitcoin network is that you have rules without rulers, correct? So the protocol applies the same to everyone. It doesn't care whether you're Michael Saylor with thousands of Bitcoin or you're one of us stacking those sats and, you know, trying to get 1 million sats whenever you can. But the good thing about it is the transactions. You can go to the Block Explorer, go check that out. You can get statistics that a prime brokerage has right at your fingertips and have that same access and power that these big bankers have. Also, say there is a Bitcoin standard, verifiable, right? You can see every transaction, the Fed. We'd be able to see the quantity and check. And what it does is, when we talked about gold, is it holds everyone accountable. With a fixed supply that can't be counterfeited as these other two, it provides just much more of a value proposition. So verifiable gold, sometimes you might have to inspect it and make sure that it is pure, and these things are some scientific processes involved. Verifiable fiat, we know that can be counterfeited at times. The British actually did that to the colonists and flooded fake colonial marks into the colonies, debasing their currency. Okay, so in verification, without a doubt, Bitcoin is superior. I would say fungibility as well, because of how quick a transaction can take place. So let's look at fungible. That's the ability to interact and change between things, right? Well, if you have a Strike account or any of the various exchanges and different things you can do there, you can interchange between different fiat and cryptocurrencies at a couple clicks of a button. So it's pretty hard to beat that there. But gold, it's, thousands of years in history. It can be exchanged for different currencies. There are many, as things are pegged to the dollar, and the dollar is fungible to gold. You can always correlate there. Fungibility, the dollar is the largest mostly accepted currency in the world, so very good there. And I mean, you use dollars to convert to these stores of value as well. Portability, no one is throwing satchels on and carrying their bricks of gold across the desert anymore and things like that, right? But I mean, it's possible. We have technology and innovation, but it's going to cost you a lot of money, time, resources. It's going to hurt the environment, moving that gold all over the place, correct? One thing about fiat, whether it's in paper or in that digital form, it is portable, because you can have that on your phone or in your pocket, correct? Now, Bitcoin is also ultimately portable. It's on your phone, but you can also carry it in your own personal vault. Check out these hardware wallets, okay? If you want to be self-sovereign, if you own Bitcoin, if you own, I don't want to talk about that stuff, but if you own Bitcoin, you want to keep it safe, lock it down, put it in cold storage with that long-term mindset, you can use a cold card, a Tracer, the Passport, the ledgers, and there's many more coming on the market, and there's many ways to go about this. You can do multi-sig with Casa and many other sources. Just do your own research, find something that's good for you, and later we'll get some videos out on walking you through how to set up those accounts and making sure you're tightening things up there. But portability, I can carry it in about a little 2-inch flash drive, my entire net worth across the entire world. So that's pretty remarkable. But puts fiat's about the same, right? Because you can have your brokerage account on your E-Trade or whatever you use there. Durable. Now in this chart we have moderate. A few things to consider there. Gold, very durable. Its chemical composition makes it very hard to break down into other substances unless maybe you have some alchemy capability. Fiat, durable. You can burn it. I can throw it in the trash. I can rip it apart. Gold, not easy. Now Bitcoin, very durable. But I think where we have the separation here is in that time frame in the history. But over 12 years, Bitcoin's never been hacked. It has this impenetrable network and group of cyber hornets willing to die on the hill to protect it. So it is very durable. The only thing here is I would say, gold with its history and how long it's lasted, that gives it an edge at the current moment. Divisible. All right, so we're looking at this. So you got your dollars, right? Your dollar can break apart into 100 pieces, 100 pennies, 100 cents, fairly easily. And you can make those transactions, whether digitally, in paper, with coins, different things like that. Gold, very hard to divide. You can have, your large bricks. You can have your ounces, your coins that denominate different values. But for the most part, not as easily fungible to break down into those little pieces. Bitcoin, there's only 21 million Bitcoin, but there's 100 million Satoshis, the fractions of Bitcoin in each Bitcoin. So you can go ahead and multiply those together. That's how many sats will exist in all time of history. All right, it can't be altered or changed. But it can divide to much lower values in cents, and up to much higher values than we're used to in fiat or gold, as its value proposition increases over time. Scarcity. Okay, when we did the Twitter poll, this is what I was kind of assuming everyone was going to go this way. And last week I noticed when I covered monetary history, I focused just naturally on those two elements a little more than the others because I think as Bitcoiners and the value proposition, those things, we do see that as value, but we also see the problem. And the problem is in a currency that has an infinite supply that can be manipulated and can be used politically. And that's what makes us value the scarcity, and also, as we get down here later, the verifiable network, and also decentralization. But scarcity, that fixed supply. Gold has been great throughout time. Typically, the new gold supply coming into the market does not exceed 2%. So it kind of maintains that 2% CPI inflation rate per annum in correlation to the dollar. But gold, as it gets more valuable over time, it drives up incentive to mine more, which will lead to increases in supply. Though you have to really, really increase the supply of gold to debase it. It would take tons and tons. Remember, thousands of ounces or millions of ounces of gold over time have been accumulated, but also centralized in many central banks and exchange different holders of that nature. Fiat, do we even have to talk about scarcity? They can print it right now. Right now they're printing. Like I said last week, go check out usdebtclock.org. Try to wrap your head around that. Like, if I were to take $28 trillion and line them up, I want to know how many miles that goes. I want to know, can we build a bridge with the national debt to Mars? Okay, so scarcity, it has no value to modern monetary theorists or Keynesians because they don't want to have to live by rules. They can depreciate the currency and absorb that loss of purchasing power to the consumer. They eat it up. It's an invisible tax, and it's theft. Okay, established history. Now, if we look at it, gold, thousands of years. We talked about this last episode. Bitcoin, 12-year history, but the greatest 12-year history in any asset that has ever existed. Keep that in mind. Okay, and then we go over to fiat, established history. It's only, this form of it has only been around since 1971, as we talked about last week, but it really came into inception in World War I around 1914, just a couple years after that meeting at Jekyll Island. Okay, so gold, much more established, thousands of years of history and cultural connections there. Censorship resistance. All right, now this is something that means a little something else to Bitcoiners, and maybe some people haven't come around to this. I don't think people understand that their Fourth Amendment has been, it hasn't existed since 2001. Okay, post-Patriot Act, and then you have the NSA and what Snowden discovered and released to the world. You have the NDAA, now that the United States can basically take out its own citizens. These are some interesting things, along with the climate. Gold became centralized, controlled by governments. Fiat is Fed coin. It is the ultimate shitcoin. When we look at Bitcoin, there is no central point of failure. There is no intermediary. It's you and that other person. You agree to make that transaction, it goes through. All right, so here we go. Let's go to censorship resistance. Okay, this means a lot to Bitcoiners. We value that Fourth Amendment privacy rights that were given to us. I always hated this. People would say, I remember my professors, that, you know, privacy is not protected in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And have you read the Fourth Amendment? Please read that. Privacy mattered to them. It should matter to us. That was a big reason they were doing what they're doing. You don't want the British coming into your house telling you what to do. You don't want the Fed coming in, bending you over, jabbing you with a needle or something. You know, it's crazy. People don't like that. So with Bitcoin, it's peer-to-peer. There is no central figure, intermediary to resist. There is no government in control. There's no company, business, none of those things. So in the network, transactions take place. It's verified through the mining mechanism. put on the blockchain's verified by all the nodes, boom, here we are, and it can't be changed, altered, abolished, double spent, nothing, unless you want some sort of mutually assured destruction. I always think of, with the 51% attacks, you guys can look into that, but it's almost like the Dr. Strangelove, and that the mutually assured destruction is what I think of, the amount of capital and the damage you would do to yourself to make it happen. And we've also kind of escaped that after this mining movement out of China, and even dispersing and decentralizing more. But gold, in the censorship, so many people may own coins or hold in an ETF or through one of these people that provide the gold storage and services. I've even seen things where they send you pictures of it, like, all right, this is all your gold, it's still here, da-da-da-da. So maybe you can exchange it in dollar value, but you can't really verify that value is still in existence or hasn't been purchased by someone else. And if there was a run there, if they could really absorb and disperse the gold, and to think of the cost to do that. Bitcoin doesn't have to worry about that. Fiat censorship, especially if you get a CBDC, it may be, like when they suspended habeas corpus with Lincoln and these things, that, oh, you're speaking out against the government, no allowance this week, you can't use social media, and you can't do all these other things. You could be completely censored using CBDCs, and that is frightening, to say the least. Bitcoin is your biggest defense against that. Unforgeable. So Bitcoin and this inability to be counterfeited and the verification that can take place. Very easy to do that with fiat. It's happened time and time and time again, and central figures debase it and have time and time and time again throughout history. Not so much in fiat, but as we go to the gold standard and the coin clipping, as we talked about before. Now, programmability. That's amazing. You guys need to, if you haven't, Andres Antonopoulos has some great material talking about the fundamentals and the technical aspects of Bitcoin. And man, it's just incredible stuff. Programmable money, the Internet of Money. He's got 3, the Internet of Money series, I believe. So we'll put those in below. So if you want to get into those, you can make a purchase and dive right in. He's got tons of material on YouTube. Go follow him. He's a fun guy. But with Bitcoin, you can do so many different things with it. Openly programmable. If I want it to disperse X amount at this time to these people, I can have that set up and have that power within myself. The big thing about openly programmable is the powers that these banks and institutions and hedge funds and all those people used to have with their money, you now have with yours, and you can determine what to do with that on your own. You are now a sovereign holder of your money, and you can dictate what to do with it based on your risk tolerance or whatever you want to do. Okay. Gold, what do you program it? It's a rock. Okay. It's shiny. It's nice. It might be put into some chips and used for some different technology. Fiat, no, but with a CBDC, they can insidiously be programmable. And when we get here, no throat to choke. No one even knows who Satoshi, he, she, they was. No government controls this thing. No institution, no state, no individual, corporation, anything. And it is also apolitical. It doesn't care who owns it, where they're from, how old they are, any of these things. It is apolitical. There is no favoritism. Everyone is the same and viewed the same. It's the most egalitarian thing to ever exist in finance or monetary history. So think about that, all right? Gold, decentralized, maybe more so than fiat, because you probably have A lot of individuals and families dispersed all across the globe that have accumulated in some things. The largest quantities, though, are held by governments and states, central banks. Fiat, of course, totally at the whims of the Federal Reserve here in the United States, and those three-letter organizations, the state, the government, they get to manipulate, dictate the policy, and steal your purchasing power in the process. So I think it's pretty easy. When I look at this, I see Bitcoin, I see gold, I see fiat, I see the shit that matters. And Bitcoin wins in almost every regard except established history. But in its 12-year history, it's outperformed any asset. Name it. The fastest asset to ever reach $1 trillion market cap. It's coming back again. Gold's market cap, 10 trillion. It'll eat it up. But hey, thanks for stopping in. Had a good time. I don't know how this made you feel, but man, with Amazon talking about bringing it in, Twitter and Jack Dorsey, Elon and the evolution of money, right? Bitcoin. I support Bitcoin. It empowers the individual. I liked hearing things like that. And man, El Salvador, September 7th, I think, guys, right? Don't forget to smash by on that date. Man, you should be looking like this right now.
Let me see your war face. Sir, you got a war face? Ah! That's a war face. Now let me see your war face.
Get that war face! All right. Man, hope you guys had a good time. Share this out. Go ahead and support us wherever we can. We'll have a ton of stuff down in the show notes for you. Go ahead, give us some feedback. Talk some shit with us on Twitter. It's fine. Hey, stay smart, stay free, learn BTC, and have yourself a hell of a day.